If you think last episode was painful, we're about to take that misery to a whole new level. Things looked bleak for the Phils when we recorded last episode, but they managed to turn the ship around, only to crash into the rocks.
Disappointment once again, and the Eagles went from a close loss to a solid Denver Broncos team to a blowout loss at the hands of one of the worst teams in the NFL. Things are going from bad to worse in the city of brotherly love, and we are about to walk you through it for the love of Broad Street.
For the love of Broad Street, welcome back to the show. I'm Jake, that's Marshall. It's like 2023 all over again in Philadelphia. The Eagles start out undefeated, only to suffer a couple of devastating losses once our luck finally ran out.
And the Phillies lost in devastating fashion in the playoffs, Jake. Only this time it wasn't the World Series, it was just the NLDS. And somehow the way we went out here still feels like it's worse than 2023, Jake. I still can't believe how horrible that ending was for us.
Oh, it was brutal. It was brutal. That as awful as it was as a fan, it also made me realize how human those guys are.
Absolutely.
Because that mistake that Kerkering makes is something you'd see in a Little League game. Like I don't even know if you'd see that in like a mid-level high school game, because and you feel for him because clearly the moment got to him, right? I mean, like 50, 60,000 people screaming at him. The bases are loaded. His adrenaline's through the roof. And that just he makes the perfect pitch. He gets this little dribbler right back to him. And like the one of the worst feelings, I think, I hope he doesn't see this picture. There's this shot from like a broadcast camera way up where you see where the runner is.
Yeah.
And
he's about to throw it home.
When he has the ball, he's like 10 feet off the plate.
He's got so much time.
Yeah. He could have like thrown that ball up and down to himself a couple of times before he threw it and still got him. And you could just see the panic and he just slingshots that ball nowhere close. We can get into it, but I can't imagine how he must be feeling after making that error. My goodness.
Okay, but we have to set the table a little bit here, Jake, because he comes into this game after Luzardo is pitching very well. I mean, first of all, the Phillies are going to extras against a team that they should be scoring more runs against. They scored more runs against the previous evening. And you're thinking they're going to come back out and the bats are going to get going again. But they only managed to get one run on a Castellanos double that drives in Kepler. And then they go cold. You get to the extra inning situation. Luzardo comes in. He's performing well. Topper makes the move to go to Kerkering. And I don't know if Kirk has ever been in a more pressure spot in his career.
There's no way.
Because you're not typically going to go to him unless it gets to an 11th inning and you've exhausted all of your previous arm, all of the arms that you want to go to, like Durant.
Right.
So to have him be there, I mean, obviously the moment like you said, got to him. But there are two things that happened on this play that make me just want to pull my teeth out, which is number one, he doesn't throw the ball to first, which you just have to know the situation there, right? It's going to take that guy longer because it's 2 outs, right? Guy on third is going to get a jump no matter what. He's going to get a jump to go home no matter what. So the play is at first here, but even that, had he had the presence of mind to just deliver the ball to JT.
He probably still gets
it. No, Jake, the runner missed home plate.
Oh, yeah. He did, he went back and touched it after. I forgot that piece.
He stepped right before the plate and strided over, and then he's like, oh, shoot, I actually missed home plate. I'm going to go back and touch it.
Went back
and then the game is over.
That's a great shout.
In either scenario here. He throws the ball to first, or he just has an adequate throw home.
Calms down. Yeah.
You get that out, and you potentially have a chance to win that game.
Yeah.
And JT is there pointing to first, like you got to throw
Yeah.
it there, you got to throw it there. Uh, so many ways that this could have gone right for the Phillies. It did not in this case, but I don't think that you can put this on Kirk. And I know
No.
his teammates were saying that to him in the dugout. I know they had to be
Yeah.
saying that to him on the flight home. This is on them as a
Yeah.
collective unit. They did not show up for him, right? If you had runs scored in the bottom half of that previous inning or the top half of that inning, then you're not in that position. Then you're in a
Yeah.
position where okay, you give up one run, you're good. Um, and I honestly, I would still second guess that decision to go off of Luzardo because I thought he was pitching really well, and he didn't get a crucial call on a
Yeah.
strike that would have changed the complexion of this game too, Jake.
Yeah. And you know, there's so many what ifs in this game that we can talk about. And before I get to those, I do want to mention how like as a Phillies fan, just how like just a knife thrust to end this one is. I don't know if you saw Dave Roberts post game press conference.
Yeah,
He said in in like the least offensive way that play is PFP, pitcher's fielding practice.
yeah,
And it just crushed my soul.
yep.
I felt like someone punched me in the face
Mm-hmm.
because that's like a very nice way of saying that play is made 99 times
Yeah,
out of 100.
we kind of got away with one in
Yeah,
essence.
and he we just couldn't make it. We couldn't make it in two facets. We couldn't throw it to the right spot or throw it on target.
Yeah,
But to your point, I lay the blame squarely on the top of the lineup because
absolutely.
look at the course of the series. We win one game, and it's the game that the top three showed up. And the first two games of the series they didn't hit, and then I have the numbers up in front of me. Trey Turner 0 for 5, Schwarber 1 for 5, Harper 0 for 4. They are getting paid an exorbitant amount of money
Yeah.
to hit the baseball in the postseason,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't. And we can talk about a ton of other things, and we will. But at the end of the day, if those top three guys aren't producing, you're not going to win games.
Right.
You're not going to win games with 4 hits in an elimination game. It's not happening.
No, you have an outburst from Kyle Schwarber in Game 3 of this series with 2 homers. Kind of what we were hoping was going to be a get back to form game for him after really having a cold streak. Honestly, leading up into the playoffs and then continued into the playoffs, and not seeing him perform. He's your best bat, right? Top to bottom in this lineup. You're looking at that guy as your clutch hitter right now. It used to be Bryce Harper. It used to be he was if there's a high leverage guy to go to, it's going to be Bryce taking those swings. But right now on this team, it was Schwarb. He was hitting those balls out of the yard. He did it in Game 3. He did next to nothing in Game 4. And honestly, I thought Turner looked like a different player, and maybe that is something to do with the injury and coming back from that and right, just not feeling 100% swinging the bat. But he didn't do a whole lot of good things in this series. He had some really good defensive plays, I'll say, especially I believe in Game 4. He had some good defensive plays, making a stop, making a long throw for an out to take a base hit away. But you're not getting contributions from the place where you're expecting to get the contributions. I think that you needed something from this lineup, and once Bader went out, it was like we don't have a prayer. He comes in for that pinch hit opportunity in one game. He does get a hit, and then the elimination game here at the end, he comes in and is unable to muster a hit. But it's like, if that's really who you're going to have to go to here, an injured Harrison Bader is going to be your ace in the hole.
Yeah.
I mean, where's Edmundo Sosa in this scenario, right?
Yeah.
It's the other question too. He was playing really well. I don't really remember any any significant at bats of his.
Yeah, he had a pinch hit with that bases loaded where he just flew out to center, and it was either game one or game two.
Yeah.
And that was about it. But there's another thing. Here's why I think he doesn't put Sosa in for me is because Sosa can't work an at bat, right? Like
Right.
he swings to the first pitch all the time. He chases a lot.
Well, can Castellanos?
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So I get why they don't turn to him as a pinch hitter there, but
Yeah.
That was what was so frustrating to me about the top three. 0 walks for Trey Turner, 0 walks for Kyle Schwarber.
Mm-hmm.
Harper did manage one, but it's just they're not even like a factor. You know what I mean? Like, if Trey Turner walks, that's a win, right? You speed on the base pass. That's a big
He's
win.
He's going to steal second for you.
Yeah, and he was the leadoff guy all series, and he just didn't get it done. And then the only guy that was really working the at bats was Alec Bohm.
Yeah,
and
he still wasn't getting on base that often.
Right, and what's frustrating from just a lineup perspective is he's the guy that was working the at bats, but then you had Schwarber and Harper jammed together.
Mm-hmm.
You could have put Bohm in the middle of those guys to stop where they just turn to a lefty every single time, because Trey Turner wasn't hitting righty or lefty. And then obviously it's much harder on Harper and Schwarber. But for all those mistakes, we do need to talk about that blown call, because the Dodgers lone run, Sanchez was on the mound and he paints one.
Yep.
Paints
Perfect.
a fastball.
Perfect throw.
And the umpire says nothing. It leads to a base runner. That base runner leads to a run.
Yep.
And the umpire even posthumously, over the dead corpse that is the Philadelphia Phillies, says, "Sorry about that. I messed that one up."
Yeah.
And Marshall, tell me a better argument for the challenge system that we're getting next year than that moment. I mean, that is a huge moment. Yep. Literally could have decided the fate of this entire postseason.
Yeah.
Because who knows? We win that game 1-0. We go back to the bank. Maybe we win that one. And just judging by, some of the other teams, especially in the AL, like, I don't know if they have the pitching to win a World Series. I really think this is my hot take for the episode. Whoever the National League team is in the World Series wins it.
Takes it.
I think 3 of those top 4, the Cubs, maybe not so much, but Brewers, Phillies, Dodgers, I think all 3 of those beat anybody the AL has to offer.
Yeah,
that's my hot take for the episode. So that call is just enormous. And he, I don't expect humans to be perfect. They're humans. But when he, after the fact says, I messed that one up. If only there was a way where we could have just said, hey, can we,
I know,
challenge that?
I think we're heading to a future in baseball and in football where most everything is an automated call. And I don't think that we're ever going to get rid of that human error. And I know there are baseball purists, football purists out there who are going to say, well, that's an element of the game and you have to call. But like, okay, to talk about something different, but the Kansas City Chiefs not getting a single flag thrown against them, that is
that's crazy.
This is an element where you take some of the favoritism potentially out of the game. I want a fair across the board, let's call it evenly, establish the rules, call them the way that they need to be called. And I mean, when it comes to balls and strikes, no human eye is going to be perfect. You're going to miss calls. It's just a foregone conclusion. You're going to miss calls.
I'm not mad at the ump for missing it. I'm mad that there wasn't any recourse when we have the technology to do so. And to your football point, like forget the human error, right? Because that's always going to exist. We're going to miss stuff, but like. So not that it's the same thing at all as an NFL official, but like I'm a referee for youth soccer. There is an element of like humanness in your calling. If one coach is calling you a bunch of swear words the whole game, and he's getting on you about calls that you think are absolutely 100% on, you're going to get tired of it. And then maybe, just maybe, that creeps into your decision-making when there's a 50-50.
It shouldn't, but it's natural.
But guess what? It does, because they're human. we're
Hmm.
not robots out there. If you're getting abused by one coach and the other coach is, an absolute sweetheart to you, if there's a 50-50 call, maybe I didn't see a hold on that one. Maybe I didn't see that ball, would hit the ground, whatever. But again, short of a robot, like you said, like robo because I want to be clear for those of you unfamiliar, next year is not a robo ump. The ump's still making the call.
Yeah.
There's just recourse. Like in
Right.
this situation, Sanchez could have said, "Hey, check that,"
Yeah.
and then they could have overturned it. The but to your point, I mean, if you want to talk about a level playing field, you got to go robo.
Absolutely.
That's the only way to do it.
I think that we have some resistance from maybe a certain older subset of the population that just feels like that's not the way the game is played, and we want to maintain this like
Right.
tradition and the sovereignty of the sport and keep it away from all that. But I just see that as from a competition standpoint, from a fairness standpoint, there's no other solution to this.
Yeah.
Long term, I'm not necessarily advocating for it right now, but I'm thinking that's
And
the way we're going to end up at some
I
point.
will say, I'm like, I don't know what you'd call like a semi purist, maybe. I'm like halfway there because I legitimately do like the human error in umping. But I think, uh, I don't know if like this makes me a hypocrite or not, but in the postseason, I almost think it should just be full robo because like it really matters then.
Yeah.
The part of the reason I like the completely just human umpire, no assist throughout the 162 games. I do watch most Phillies games. And when you're watching every day, baseball can get pretty repetitive.
Yep.
But hey, this umpire has a tall and narrow strike zone. This guy has a short and fat strike zone.
Right.
It switches up what you're watching day to
Hmm.
day, and it makes the pitchers adapt. It makes the hitters adapt. There's a fun element in that.
Yeah.
But when the lights come on in October and you miss a call like that, that's potentially postseason altering. Forget game altering. You're like, I wish we had the challenge system.
Right. Right. I get
But
that.
all of this aside, there are calls for Topper's job. And I want to hear your thoughts. I want to hear, Topper out, Topper in, Topper stays, but with different staff around him. What do you think?
We have to remember what it's like to be losers. And it's not too far in the past that was the case for this franchise. He takes the job over from Girardi. He takes it over during a struggling season, a struggling team, and we end up in the playoffs. We end up in the World Series. The rest is history there. But he didn't come through in the clutch in the big moments. But I think that you can say a lot about the lineup in those instances. You can say a lot about
Yeah.
individual failures at different positions. I think of Craig Kimbrell every time I think of individual failures. There's so yeah, exactly. Get in the stands. Um, I don't think that you can put it all on Topper's shoulders. He has gotten you to a place where, for the first time in a long time, really since the late 2000s, you're consistently winning, you're consistently making playoff appearances, you consistently have a chance at least to take a pennant, to win a World Series. You can't ask for a whole lot more other than a World Series ring. And we just know
Yeah.
that those aren't easy to come by. I mean, from 1980 to 2008, there was nothing. And from 2008 to now, there's been nothing. These are not easy things to take home. So I would give him a little bit more time. I think he's still a clubhouse friendly coach and a manager. I think he still has their respect. And I think he, in large part, should still have the respect of the fan base. The grass looks greener all the time, but we
Yeah.
also know we also know what it's like when the grass is brown and crusty and dead. And
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to end up on that field again. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just think it's outrageous that there are calls for the job of a coach who's literally never missed the playoffs.
Yeah,
Like, is that crazy to anyone
that's
else but
wild.
me? That
Yeah.
what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And the thing that I'm most disheartened about is when they were talking to Bryce Harper and they, asking about Topper's job security. That the big headline was Harper said, "I have no idea," and I feel like Bryce missed an opportunity
To be like,
to
he's my
say what
guy.
I'm saying. Yeah, to say what I'm saying. Just like, are you nuts?
Yeah,
Like he has made the postseason every single time,
I
three
know.
for three. What do you mean is his job not secure? And listen, you want to get into like Kevin Long's job as the hitting coach. You want to get in the pitching coach position. Like if you want to swap those, go, fine. The Mets are doing that. Mets are basically the owners said, a head coach can stay in, clean house otherwise. I don't even know if we should be at that point because again, I legitimately think the Dodgers are the best team in baseball, and we lost to the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
We were outplayed, but and you listen, you can look back at any baseball game in history, and whoever the losing coach is, you could say, he shouldn't have done that, shouldn't have
At the
done that,
moment.
shouldn't have done that. Yeah,
Yep.
you could do that any game ever.
Hmm.
Just because he wasn't absolutely perfect in his coaching decision doesn't mean he should be canned. And more importantly, I'll go back to it. It is not Topper's fault that Turner, Schwarber, and Harper put an invisibility cloak on
No,
for this series. It's not his
no.
fault.
He
Those are
sends
your
them to the
guys.
plate no matter what,
Yeah,
right? He's not
those are
pulling them
you.
out.
And I mean, yeah, you can't. I mean, I can't believe there's any manager in baseball that would look at those three guys and be like, we should bench them for this elimination game. Like it's ridiculous. So the people calling for Topper's job, I say, uh, rewind to like 2014 and think about what it was like when the postseason not even wasn't imminent. It was so far away that
Yeah.
you couldn't even see it from here.
Yeah.
Um,
Didi
that's all.
Gregorius days and
Yeah, right.
the
And relying
McCutcheon
on
late, you know.
yeah, right. And betting your happiness on these pitchers that throw 90 miles an hour with one off pitch. It was miserable. And like we look at the bounty we have. We have the best catcher in baseball. We've got a home run king in Schwarber. Bryce Harper, who's almost certainly going to be a Hall of Famer. I mean, up and down the lineup, we were just spoiled, and I just feel like those Phillies fans that are calling for Topper's job are just like toddler tantruming.
Yeah.
I don't want a new coach. I don't like this coach. No, he's really good. The lineup's really good. We couldn't get it done against a really good team. That's how it is. Let's try again next year, and we'll talk about the future in free agency and staffing and all that stuff going forward. So I don't want to get too deep into it now, Marshall. But I don't know if you saw, the Phillies have been named as a top destination for Kyle Tucker, who is one of the premier free agents this season, if not the guy to get.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that quick before we moved on.
Coming from the Cubs,
Yeah.
I like his swing. I mean, it's hard to deny his prowess and his ability, especially going back to his time in Houston. I think that's a position of need in this lineup right now.
Yeah.
You think, I mean, you still have Castellanos under contract and all that, but I don't know that you could.
And they could move him. He could
Yeah,
be he could be moved pretty easily, I think.
yeah,
But the big thing for me is Kyle Tucker is only 28.
I know.
That's like that. He feels like because he's been around for so long, you're like, oh, he's getting old. I actually thought he was over 30.
Yeah,
He's not. He's only 28 years old.
yeah.
He's an incredible hitter.
Hmm.
The only problem is, Marshall, I don't see us paying what he should be paid and re-signing Schwarber.
I know.
Um, I
And I think, just sorry to cut you off there, but I think that
yeah.
Schwarber, in his final press conference there, standing at his locker and his bottom lip is quivering. First of all,
Oh,
what a
that
heartbreaking interview.
killed me. As if the
What
game wasn't bad enough. I had
to
to
see
listen
a
to my hero crying on TV. It was awful.
to see him like that, it was terrible. But
Ugh.
he seems like a guy who, I mean, who wouldn't want to stay in this situation? I think.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want to be playing for this city. He knows what the fan base brings to the table. He knows what this lineup has to offer. I'm sure he likes living in this city now. He's gotten, comfortable with everything. And he's a god when he walks around town. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, yeah.
everybody knows who Kyle Schwarber is, especially after hitting 56 home runs in a single season. I think any team that goes after him obviously is going to have to shell out big bucks, Phillies
Oh
included,
yeah.
but there is some home field discount potential that could
I
happen
hope
with
because
with a Kyle Schwarber.
if you look at it, like I was kind of just comparing the numbers with Kyle Tucker,
Hmm.
and the offensively, I mean Schwarber's just kills it in every
Well, of
category.
course.
That's the way he does. The flip side, Tucker, you get the defense,
Yep.
you get he has actually, I think he had 25 stolen bases this year, which is
He's quick.
that's pretty incredible. The thing that I come back to is like you talk about like the off the field intangibles, locker room leader.
Yeah.
He has his charity, which benefits military and first respond. I mean, this dude is just a 5-star human being.
Buttoned up. Yeah.
Yeah, and listen, he is a little older. Maybe we get like just a little head nod. Like I don't think we're gonna get this huge cut rate to keep him in Philly.
No.
But if we get a little bit, and you look at that offensive production, before the postseason, unfortunately, you're like, I mean, as a DH, you don't really get much better than Kyle Schwarber.
No.
But Kyle Tucker, I think, would be kind of a look, not to the very distant future, but maybe a year or two down the road.
Right.
As opposed to like paying Schwarber is like a win now move.
It is.
And I coming into this postseason, I would have bet we'd re-sign Schwarber. Seeing the gap between us and LA, I don't know. I don't know if it's there anymore.
Okay, I sent this in the group text this week, but if you go just based on runs scored, Jake, the Phillies scored more runs than the Dodgers. So it was 15-13. We tallied it up. Yes, that comes off of significant performance by the Phillies in Game 3. Yeah. They beat up Kershaw.
Poor Kershaw. Dave
Roberts doesn't take him out for some reason.
I actually love this point because it's a point, ladies and gentlemen, if you're not familiar with soccer, which is my favorite sport. They do an aggregate system in certain competitions. So you play a home and away, and it's not, who wins both games. It's what's the score in the game. So if one game, this team wins 3-2, but in this game, the losing team wins 1-0, or I should say 4-2 and 1-0. The 4-2 winner would move on because of the total score.
Yeah.
However, that doesn't account for Dave Roberts leaving Clayton Kershaw in to get slaughtered in by this Phillies lineup. It was kind of sad, but I do think the point's very funny.
Yeah, but I don't think that there's that big of a gap. I think situationally the Phillies screwed up. They lose a game 4-3 in this series. They lose a game 2-1 in this series. Like there were these guys were gettable, and the Phillies beat them up in the regular season at their place. I don't think that this was a full on okay. And let's say you get Wheels back and he is Wheels.
See, that's the big that's a great point. If Wheels comes back at 100%, I take back what I said.
Yeah.
My thinking is I've never had a potentially life-threatening blood clot. I don't know what that does to a body.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's getting older. I just can't see him coming back from this being like completely 100% where he was. If he is, I take it back. We're in win now mode because you're right. This series with Wheels is a totally different prospect.
It is, but Jake, you can't deny how good Christopher Sanchez was in this series.
Oh, he was incredible. And that's the thing. We had 2 aces. That's why I thought we were a lock for at least a World Series appearance.
Yep.
And then you saw it when you take out our second ace, our first ace.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're just a normally good team instead of an incredible team. And that's where you saw like the Dodgers able to throw Shohei and Snell. Like that 1-2 punch is what just murders you because that's those first 2 crucial games, and they just knocked us out before we even got going. We could have matched them punch for punch with
Yeah.
Wheeler, then Sanchez. And unfortunately, you know, Wheeler just had that, again, potentially life threatening injury. This wasn't just a baseball injury. This was scary
Right.
stuff.
Bad.
Um,
But
so
remember, Jake, too, like with the bat in his hand, Shohei didn't do anything. So we
yeah,
were
we neutralized them.
stifling in large part the superstars on this team. It was the Teoscar Hernandez's and the,
Yeah, those
guys you
Will
wouldn't expect
Smith.
to, yeah,
Yeah,
right. Guys you wouldn't expect to kill you, but they're still like, I don't know, top two in their position because it's the Dodgers.
yeah, right. It's
Um,
like, oh, it's just Will Smith, and then you're like, yeah, he's probably the second best catcher in the National League when you look
Right.
around.
Yeah.
Um,
So pretty tough to argue with that. But
yeah,
I'm hopeful that they can keep Kyle. I just as somebody who has watched him for
yeah,
this long and understanding the kind of guy he is and what he means, I think, to this city. He's kind of like the anti Bryce Harper. He's not
yeah,
the
right.
showy guy.
The chill.
I'm gonna pick up this bat. I'm gonna crack this ball over the wall, and
Yeah.
you're not gonna hear a peep out of me when I
Yep,
round
not
into
going to
theyird.
celebrate really. You're just going to
No,
watch it a little and
I'm
just
not
round the
gonna
bases.
I'm not gonna bat spike like Real Muta or like
Yeah,
Reese Hoskins did. I'm not gonna
right.
slide while I'm in London on the warning track or right around the dugout
Yeah,
when Harper's over there in London. Like he's just gonna hit the ball as far as anybody in history has. That's all he's
right.
gonna do,
Yeah, and
and
then
act like
mosey
it's
back
nothing.
to the dugout. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that, like as you said before, I feel like this lineup's going to look really different next
Yeah, it
year.
has to. It has to.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think you can get away from that. Especially, I don't know. Bum didn't perform at times this year. Marsh was good in spots. I don't think I don't know if Kepler's going to be on this team next year. There's a lot of
yeah.
question marks here.
Ranger Suarez in the rotation. He might go.
He might go. He
Yeah,
pitched well, but he might go.
he might go. It's yes. Listen, we'll be following all that free agent stuff
Lots to talk
as it
about.
comes. Yeah, but as if that loss wasn't bad enough, let's get to the other awful loss because the
Yay.
Birds just piled on the misery by losing to not the Broncos. Right, the Broncos are solid. We lost to the Giants,
Yep.
who, by the way, was coming off a loss to the New Orleans Saints,
Yep.
who has a very, very strong case to be the second worst team in the league behind the winless Jets.
Yep.
And that team, the Giants, who just lost to the Saints, beat the mighty, mighty Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl hopefuls. And it wasn't like the Denver game. It wasn't close. We got embarrassed by a one-win football team. Marshall, help me understand what I was watching.
Uh, Probably the worst performance in recent memory from the Philadelphia Eagles. An embarrassing loss in a stadium that we normally demolish
Slay it.
teams in. I
Oh,
mean, absolutely manhandle teams in.
yeah.
Didn't happen on this occasion. You go into it thinking that this is the game where everything's just going to smooth itself out, right? You've got several weeks of these up and down like comeback wins and close down to the wire finishes here where they're giving up points late, but they've got that moxie in them and they've got that will in them and they're going to make it all work, right?
Yeah.
And to a certain point in this game, it felt like that could be the script again, right? You go up early or you go down early in this game after kicking a field goal, they come back, they score a couple times. You're like, okay, the rookies, they got a
We
little bit
got
of
him.
a
We got him.
right. They're going to be gettable, and there's going to be no issue coming back. And then they start stacking points, and it's like, geez, okay, 20-17 at half. You're feeling okay. The offense has a couple drives there that looked all right, but given what happened in previous weeks where it was a tale of two halves, this is the exact same thing, Jake, but
Yeah.
on a way worse scale. Like it was just three and out, three and out, three and out, and then pick that should have been a pick six almost. And
Yeah.
and then you're driving down the field and AJ Dillon fumbles the ball and it's like everybody's going to bed.
Yeah.
Um, I like again, an offense that just looked completely out of sorts. And I was seeing this. actually from Jason Avant talking about where the Eagles run the ball or how the Eagles run the ball, or actually Acho talking about it, like the sets that they run the ball out of. It's like obvious when they're going to throw, obvious when they're going to pass, and
Right.
it seems like every team in the league has that playbook memorized almost, and you can
Yeah.
see it. You know the situation, right? 1st and 10, that's a running down for the Eagles.
Yeah.
Second and 8, that's a throwing down for the Eagles. They're not
Right.
going to run it 2 times. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Not that they can really run the ball anyway. But I think the theme of this game was, man, we should probably start to panic a little bit. I
Yeah. I
I,
mean,
I don't think you can look at this any other way.
yeah, it's a great point you made. I mean, Lane Johnson said it in the post game. He said, "This offense is too predictable,"
Yeah.
and that was a strong sentence from a guy who doesn't usually
No, he's not going to speak out
nitpick.
much.
Yeah,
No.
he usually just says his piece and goes home. That was a strong message. He has like the Jalen Hurts level where when he speaks, you listen.
Yeah.
And when Lane Johnson's saying we're too predictable, that was he might as well have been screaming that in Patullo's face.
Yep.
That was not a comment for us, the media, or us as fans. That
That was
was
an all caps subject line in an angry email. Is what that
yeah,
was, Jake.
right at the offensive coordinator. And we can talk about the offensive shortcomings, but I mean, this is a subpar offense that gashed us.
Yeah.
I mean, time and time again on the ground, a rookie running back, 98 yards, 3 touchdowns.
And we couldn't tackle him.
No, we were renowned as like the solid tackling defense. Vic Fangio unit. We always wrap up, and Scattaboo made us look like high schoolers tackling an NFLer.
Yeah.
And I mean, 5.5 or 5.2 yards per carry. I mean, those backflips ticked me off. But when you have a night like that, you guess what? You get the backflip. That's how this game works.
Got to stop him from scoring.
But what was happening with our defense, Marshall? Why couldn't we tackle?
I was watching this game, Jake, and I was starting to look around on that defense, especially after Quinyon goes out. You don't have Jalen Carter in this game, which was a surprise to me, actually. I didn't realize that was going to be the case. Yeah. But I started looking around like, who's out here? Right? Like outside of Zach Bond, we got Cooper DeJean and Reed Blankenship. And then your next best player after that is Jordan Davis. Like there's no depth beyond those 3 or 4 or 5 like really good players on this defense. And that showed its ugly face more than ever in that second half. When you talk about tackling, talk about the lack of effort from Adoree Jackson on the attempt to try and tackle Scattaboo. That's a cuttable offense, if you're asking me.
Yeah. When I saw that, I didn't see it live, but when they showed the replay, I think they called it out. I was like, cut him, get him out
tonight. Yeah, he should not ride home on the bus with you.
Forget good Eagles teams, bad Eagles teams. You can't play in our city if you don't want to hit somebody. Yeah. I mean, we are basically a lineage of Brian Dawkins-esque tacklers. You want to hit people. We might be bad at football, but even when we're bad, like you're going to get hit. If you want to, wuss out of a tackle, get off our team. I hate him as a coverage player, but now I just don't think he's even useful as a football player. He needs to go.
No, Jake, that secondary, we could talk about them all day. I still, Cooper's out there. Cooper's great, but when nobody else is on the field with him, right? When the outside corners are Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo, we watched this in the preseason. They couldn't stop third stringers in the preseason, and they were basically playing third stringers against the Giants, and they looked like all pros.
That's what was so frustrating. So like you come in and listen, Neighbors is an elite receiver.
Absolutely. He's
in
great.
This league.
Yeah,
he's in this game and they put up some passing yards on us, whatever.
Okay, great.
He's not playing. Guess what? Their backup, Darius Slayton. He's out. So you're playing without their top 2. Why would you say so? Okay, Mitchell goes down. Fine. We should still be okay in theory, right? Just kidding. Wandale Robinson puts up 84 yards on us. Like, what?
Yeah,
What are we doing?
I
I mean,
know.
it was the thing that I loved about the last 3 years or so was like, okay, we're gonna play solid defense. Can the offense figure their stuff out?
Right.
Right. That's that. And this time, the offense couldn't figure their stuff out, and neither could the defense. It was just awful to watch. And to your point, the lack of depth. It's not just like a secondary thing.
Oh, that's all
When
across the team. Yeah.
right when Carter's out, when Smith's
Mhm.
out, no pressure. I mean, there was no pressure up
No.
front
No. And
at all.
Zadarius Smith can't be your
Uh,
best stinking pass rusher.
yeah, you want to know why, Marshall?
Yeah.
As of a couple hours ago, he just
Yeah.
announced his retirement.
I
So,
wonder why, Jake. I
well, yeah,
wonder why he's
what's
retiring.
what you look at the results, you're like, okay, whatever. But this is really damning from a locker room
It
perspective.
is. It is.
How toxic must that locker room be? This dude came to us because he wanted to win a title.
He
That was
does.
like he took
Yeah.
a pay cut. He said, I'm going to Philly. I think they can win it. And he's given up
Yep.
in weeks, 6.5.
Yep.
And I am just super concerned because if the locker room's super tight and everything's gelling the way it's supposed to, I don't think this happens. Something's really rotten in there, and that's why I think he called it quits in the middle of not just the season, but in the middle of a week.
That's a complete vote of no confidence from a
Yeah,
guy
who's
who
been there?
shouldn't, okay, but he shouldn't be your top contributor on the
Nope.
defense, on the defensive line. But he is. That's
Right.
that is such a problem when you have a 33-year-old, right? 33 who is
Yeah.
making plays that nobody else on your team is making. Again,
Yeah.
missed opportunities are the name of the game in this one. Jalix Hunt had an opportunity for a pick there. Actually, he just kind of, I mean, you don't necessarily expect him to catch that ball because he's a defensive end, but
Right.
it goes right through his hands. Um, I- I think you're looking at this team going, who are the playmakers on that defense outside of Quinion, outside of Jalen Carter, outside of maybe Reed Blankenship at times, Cooper. That's it. And he is telling you, I don't think this team, I don't think this defense has what it takes to get
Yep.
to the top of the mountain again, like it just did. He just played for a premier contender in this league. He knows what a good defense looks like, right? He was
Yeah.
just with the Lions. Prior to that, he was with the Packers. This guy is you know able to see with clear eyes when things are going wrong, and he made maybe the right choice for him
Yeah. A
personally. If the
business
Eagles
decision.
are headed the
Yeah.
wrong direction here, he doesn't want to keep beating up his body. I don't think he doesn't come in and expect to be the every down
Playing every
edge
snap.
rusher for
Yeah.
this team at 33. He's like, this is too much, actually. You know what?
Yeah,
I'm done.
and listen, Smith's out. We need to take into consideration when Smith
Right.
comes back that maybe this gets better. But listen, you need two of them. That's how edge rushers work. There's
Mhm.
two edges, and and now Carter out and Smith's out. I don't know. Like Jalix Hunt has just become your premier edge rusher.
Yeah, he's your
And I just
only edge
I
rusher of note.
I
Ojulari is okay. I
yeah.
think Ojulari could be good at some point, but he's not where he's no Josh Sweat. He's
I
no
mean,
Brandon Graham.
you're looking at Ojulari was coming in the season as like fifth on the depth chart,
I
and
know.
now he's your starting edge rusher.
Yeah, you've
I
got
mean,
Josh Uche out there. You've got Ojulari, and
yeah,
then you're looking at, the what Patrick Johnson.
yeah. I mean, and listen, fair play to Patrick Johnson had a sack in this Giants game, but I mean, I just I don't I can't even. I want to say, Darius, you're gonna regret it. We're gonna make a postseason run. You're gonna wish you were there, and I can't even say it because
Yeah,
I'm looking at this team going. I know we're 4-2, but if the Giants can do that to us, any team in the league can do that to us. Because if you look at like those bottom feeders, like the Giants have a rookie quarterback with a rookie running back.
Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
look around and you're like, even the Jets have like a pretty solid quarterback in Fields. Like anyone could do this to us if we're not healthy. And
Yeah.
as we all know as football fans, you don't stay healthy through a whole season. I mean, this stuff
Almost
happens.
impossible. Yeah.
And and I really thought this offseason we'd be okay without your Brandon Grahams, without your your sweats,
Yeah.
your guys like that, your
Milton Williams.
Williams, yeah, your Williams. Yeah. And now I'm just thinking, well, I was an idiot. I
But
you know,
here's the thing that maybe we as football fans don't always remember. The defensive line, like the starters on the defensive line, yeah, that's important, but it's more about your whole defensive line rotation. The
right.
Eagles, when they were really good on the defensive line, a few years back, when you think about all the sacks that they had, that was a deep rotation of people. It was like
Yeah.
you still had Derek Barnett on that team, I believe. You had Brandon Graham. You had, Hassan Reddick. You had guys on the edge who were just monsters. You still had Sweat on that
Yeah.
team. And then in the middle, you had
BG
Jalen
and yeah.
Carter and Milton Williams and
Jordan Davis was your backup.
Jordan
He was
Davis and Fletcher Cox. Like,
right.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's a
Yeah.
crazy, crazy drop off in the names that you have on this team. And no longer is it the rookies that are now, playing the superstar role are backing up the guys who are the previous. We've gone through a whole new cycle of players on this team. A new generation of players has come about. They have to
Yeah.
start proving that they're worth it. And it might honestly be, Jake, something that going into next off season, it's going to have to be a point of emphasis for this team,
Yeah.
reinvesting in the defensive and the offensive line, because I think that there's some troubling signs on that as well. Landon
Yeah.
Dickerson goes out of the game in this one, or doesn't really play in this
Doesn't
one at
even
all.
start. Yeah.
And you're looking at the run offense. It's again not there. Barkley with 12 carries, 58 yards, Jake. That's a really, really disappointing outing. After the first two plays of the game, consider like he
Gashed
he,
him.
he had probably 27 of those yards on the first two carries of
Yeah.
the game.
What's wild is like if you look at just like those stats, you're going, oh, that's 4.8 yards per carry. That's really great.
Hmm.
Then why are we only handing the ball off 12 times, Kevin Patullo?
Yeah.
Someone explain this to me. I just, and again, it's another game. I said this last week. I'll say it again. I'm the guy that wants Jalen Hurts to be your quarterback, right? I want to see him slinging the ball, making, fitting the ball in tight windows. And again, he does that in this game. AJ Brown has a nice stat line.
Hmm.
He shows up with, 6 receptions, 80 yards. But guess what? We got shelled.
Yeah.
So what I want and what a lot of the fans want doesn't really matter when you're getting crushed by
Yeah.
the Giants.
No,
By
stats
the
are it's so inflated. Like, we can talk about stats all day long when it comes to quarterbacks. I just think it's the most overrated thing ever. I think the only stat that should really matter is wins versus losses. I mean,
Yeah.
Dak Prescott has great stats and has never appeared in an NFC Championship game and never appeared
Yeah.
in the Super Bowl. I hope he never does. But
Amen, brother.
I'm just saying, it doesn't, like, this is not the way this Eagles team is built to win. This
Yeah.
Eagles team is not built to win when Jalen Hurts throws the ball 40 times or
Right.
close to that, or even I don't know, the times when you look back at the wins for this team, it's an even balance of run and pass. Jalen has maximum 25 attempts.
Right.
I'd love to look at the stats and see, past a certain number of attempts, what is Jalen's record versus,
Yeah, that's a
below
great point.
that, because
Yeah.
I just don't think that this team is not built to air it out. This team is built on possession. This style of offense is one that's predicated on, running down the clock, making your opponent tired, getting your offense in a position to score points, keeping your defense off of the field so that they can go out and get after the quarterback and get off the field and get the offensive ball back. Like, it's a methodical thing, right? Drew
Right.
Brees said a couple weeks ago, I get so tired of watching the Eagles offense, it's boring. Well, at its best, it should be boring. But
Right.
at this rate, it's unwatchable because it's so bad. And part of the reason,
Right.
Jake, you say we're not running the ball. We're not running the ball because On first down, we predictably hand it off.
Every single
We
time.
don't do stretch plays. We just predictably hand it off, usually
Between
from the
tackles.
shotgun, or we don't really hand it off out of the I formation that much, but
Nope.
out of the pistol we hand it off. It's like pistol. Okay, we're gonna run the freaking ball,
Yeah.
and you lose a yard on that play. First and 10 turns into second and 12. What are you gonna do, Jake? The probabilities now
I'll
are you're
throw.
gonna throw the ball, and if you
Yeah.
run the ball, then you get 3 yards back. Okay, it's 3rd and 8. We are terrible on third down.
Yeah.
Horrible on third down.
You know what's crazy? I legitimately think that it would be more effective right now to like, I don't know if you've ever done this, but when you're hanging out with your friends and you will like, hey Siri, pick a number between, 1 and 10. Like, just do
Yeah,
that with the plays because
yeah.
it would honestly, I think it would go better than how it's going right now if it was just completely random. Like,
Mhm.
forget schemes, the what the data says, just throw it out the window because everyone, to Lane Johnson's point, to your point, Marshall, it's just too predictable. Everybody knows they're stacking 8 guys in the box every first down, and we're just ramming our head into a wall.
Yeah.
And I'm just over it. I just want to see, just like, again, we get in the red zone, we a brilliant play comes up, right? We do
Mhm.
that little cool underhand shovel
Yep.
thing that
Yep.
Goddard.
Goddard has a
We
great
can,
game in this game too, by the way. He
we
had
can
over 100 yards.
Yeah, he had a great, nine receptions. But like, Kevin, you can run other plays not in the red zone. You can like run that on our 30 and get first downs instead of just running inside zone, incomplete pass punt.
But
You can chill out.
but Jake, it was also just so damning to me that they went to that play again. Like it worked twice last week. We're not gonna no variety. Let's just go right back. Guys, there has to is there somebody else that can design plays for this offense? Like if not Kevin
Yeah.
Patullo, can somebody please help this team out in designing an NFL level offense? Because if that's the only play you've got, some team's going to work, figure out how to stop it. Unless it's the tush push and you do it 4 times, and that's just,
Yeah, right.
brawn situation. You're just going to run into the end zone that way. Okay, maybe that, but that little shovel. At some point, some team's going to see you line up in that formation and pop out and pick that ball off and run it back for 6. Again, you have to have variety. He doesn't have any variety in the play calling
I
sheet.
think you're on to something, Marshall, because if we can get the tush push to be like 3 yards a carry,
I know.
we
Well,
can
it's
just run
almost.
that all the way
Yep.
down the field and we'll win
Win every game 14-0.
14-7. Yeah, it'll
Mm-hmm.
be great.
Mm-hmm.
But I made this joke again earlier. I'm going to make it again. I feel like Kevin Patullo has like his play sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And what he doesn't realize is like there's another page.
Yeah.
Like he could just like, oh,
Oh, hold
oh,
on.
hey, we have more plays, guys. Look, we can run something other than inside zone.
Check it out.
We could run a stretch or off tackle or a jet sweep or anything. Run anything besides inside zone. Please,
I know.
for my sanity.
We can't get away from talking about this game, Jake, without talking about the performance of Jalen Hurts in the passing game. An up and down one. I thought that actually those 2 drives, the 2 touchdown drives, he looked relatively impressive. You had the long completion to AJ Brown. Another just proof of concept that you should just be throwing the ball up to AJ Brown once in a while, please. Because he's just going to come down with that ball, especially
like
against weaker
it's
corners.
It's not 50-50. It's like it's like
70-30.
75-25.
Yeah.
But
forget
again,
that.
it's like you look at the stats. It's like, oh, we had a solid game, right? No, just kidding. We got run off the field by a bad football team.
Yeah. So there's some situational things that happened here, Jake. Obviously, a glaring misthrow, and I know that last week's recording, I was talking about the Eagles and Jalen missing AJ Brown, and I still think that in that case, AJ could have given more of an effort and made a chance, had a chance to catch that ball. Maybe not. Maybe it was still a little overthrown. In this case, it was Devontae Smith is wide open, nobody within 20 yards of him, and the ball sails. That's just a presence of mind. But that also comes from, I think, a place that Jalen's in where he knows those shot plays are only going to come once a game. And so it's even more pressurized for him, right? He's only going to have that guy open once a game because they just don't, that's not their philosophy on offense, it seems, for some reason.
Right.
So he's he's like, oh my gosh, I gotta get it out there because everybody's clamoring in the fan base like, well, this team's not going to win anything if they're going to lose to the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos look like they're going to be an okay team the rest of the way.
Yeah.
But you that play has around it so much going on, right? The
Right.
expectation for the Eagles to come in and trounce this team in New York because they have in the past. Maybe the Eagles underestimating their opponent in this game because you've got a rookie quarterback, you got a rookie running back. I mean, they don't know what they don't know. They're stupid. They're just, yeah, we're just going to go. I mean, Jackson
Yeah.
Dart in this game, that first touchdown that he scores, it's like you can't, you couldn't bring him down. He kind of jukes out of the pocket. It just felt like so many times, like, man, you got to be able to bring this guy down. This is kind of a theme throughout the
Right.
year. You got to bring this guy down, or the play that's a missed tackle on the sideline that number 17 catches. I don't even know his name. I don't know who the heck he is. He catches it, and Makuba whiffs on the
Yeah.
tackle, and he goes down the sideline for a score. It's like underestimating it. But my point there is Hurts is trying to do too much because he knows that there's all this pressure. And he knows that there's all this
Right.
expectation. And he's trying to prove to everybody in this league that he belongs because for some reason, I mean, how does Dak Prescott get a pass all the time when the Cowboys do
Yeah.
nothing in the playoffs? And yet, oh, okay, they lose to the Carolina
Yeah.
Panthers, by the way. And Dak Prescott still gets a pass. Like, well, it's Jerry and it's the organization, it's everything.
Right.
Dak Prescott has been in this league for how long? 10 seasons. I mean, and Jalen Hurts wins a Super Bowl in his fourth or fifth. I mean, come on. We're
Right.
not talking apples to apples here. This is a very
Yeah.
like I don't know why Jalen gets a bad rap, probably because people label him as like a not great passing quarterback, which I think he can be in the right offense and in the right scenario. This is just not the offense for that.
I want to make three retorts to things that you just said.
Okay.
One, put some respect on Wandale Robinson's name because, because he just gashed us for 84 yards. Okay, that's one.
Fair.
Two, Jalen Hurts is like, listen, I'm very critical of Jalen Hurts. I am that guy who says, like, look, an elite quarterback makes that throw. And that is like a perfect case study of my point. Because I hate that we have to talk about this because it's the Giants and we should be killing them. But if he hits that pass there and that goes for 6, which it probably would have if he hits him in stride, we might be talking about a different outcome.
Oh,
it might have been another close win. It might have been maybe a close loss, but it's not this embarrassment that we're all feeling.
That's a huge momentum swing in the game.
Yeah. And I just, an elite quarterback hits that, the Tom Brady's of the world, the Drew Breeses of the world. Not that, I'm kind of mad about what he said too, but he hits that, he just, 10 out of 10 times those guys hit that ball.
You can put loft under that ball too. You don't have to.
Right.
He's so open that you can throw it 5 yards short.
Yeah.
And he's going to still catch it.
And I don't want people to misunderstand. I still think Jalen Hurts is an incredible football player, an incredible athlete. I just don't think he's in that like elite tier that people have been putting him in. But the third point I want to make is I absolutely love, I think this is the second or third time in this episode you've just given Dak Prescott a stray. And I love it. I'm here for it. It's the only thing that's going to make us feel better in these times of misery. Marshall, I want to, I don't know if I want to hear what you have to say, but I got to know your Vikings prediction. What's going to happen to us in Minnesota?
Oh man, this is a tough one because there's a lot of factors that you have to consider with the Vikings. Number one being that their quarterback in this game is it going to be Wentz in this game? We're thinking.
So they're coming off a bye week. McCarthy was allegedly working out. Does he play? Do they go with Wentz? Wentz has a little niggle now with a shoulder or something. So who knows? I don't know.
That's a question mark. If it's Carson Wentz, I actually like the Vikings' chances better than if it's JJ McCarthy because outside of last week with giving up a lot of points to Jackson Dart, I still think that Vic Fangio against rookie quarterbacks is a tough matchup, that he's going to mix up coverages. My question is going to be who's going to be on the field for the Eagles. If it's Quinyon Mitchell on the field for the Eagles, then we are in a much better spot. But if it's not, then
we're gonna have Adoree Jackson covering the best wide receiver in the NFL, folks. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, I think that's where this game is won and lost. If you can control the passing game of the Vikings and Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, those guys are scary, very scary.
Hawkinson at tight
And
end. Those
Hawkinson
guys
at
just have
tight end.
weapon. Thielen, I mean, he's
Yeah.
weapon, 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 weapon. Marshall, I'll go first. We're going to get trounced. 35-17.
Wow. 35-17.
35-17. We're going to get trounced. If Quinion plays, that will lessen the embarrassment. It's not going to stop because whoever is opposite him has to cover Jordan Addison. And I don't know if anyone on our team outside of Quinion and Cooper could cover. And if you put Cooper out there, guess what? Adam Thielen's in the slot. I have this feeling we get run out of that building this weekend, and I'm going to want to hide under my pillow.
Yeah, I think that's a possibility. I'm not going to say otherwise, but I something about this game just feels like Jalen backs against the wall is kind of the position he's most comfortable in. And I think Nick Sirianni, when there starts to be doubters, naysayers, you go back to even last year, the Eagles start 2-2 and they win the Super Bowl, right? They rattle off a bunch of wins midseason here. This is a test for this team, and you're in the thick of a playoff race early, obviously, but you're in the thick of a playoff race where you're trying to keep pace with some other teams that don't. I mean, the Buccaneers have one loss. The Lions have two losses, I believe, and the Commanders were on a bye. They have two losses. So you really don't want to start sliding too much farther down here. I don't know. I don't have as much respect maybe for the Vikings defense. I wish that Rodgers was still on our team and he was playing outside corner.
That would be great. Come back.
Yeah, as opposed to the likes of Adoree Jackson and Keely Ringo right now. I'm going to go a close one and say this is a 28-27 Eagles win in this one.
Marshall, I love you, and I think you're great. I just think you're nuts. I really do. I think you're nuts. I will say, listen, I will give you that could happen if and only if Nick Sirianni yells at a fan again. That's the only way out of this. If he screams at somebody and the media blows it up, we're going to win the Super Bowl again. So, Nick, if you're hearing this, just yell at somebody. Get the pressure off the guys. Put it on your shoulders. Maybe punch someone. It'll be great.
Don't you want to, Nick? Just get it off your shoulders.
Right. I really hope that the next podcast episode's happier, Marshall. For the love of Broad Street. We'll see you next week, folks.